Hey, what's up, studs? Welcome to Ask MandRproductions episode 132, the series where I answer your questions. If you have a question, as always, you're welcome to leave in the comments section down below. When I go through, there is always a chance I will pick it. This is a weekly series every Tuesday on the channel, but let's get right into it with our first question from Mr. Llama. He says, has there ever been a perfect LEGO Star Wars wave? If not, what is the closest? So I think that any wave of LEGO Star Wars sets is bound to have duds or things that you think would have been better, and obviously that's going to vary from person to person on what their personal opinion is on those things. But one wave that I was kind of looking through and that really caught my eye is something that I feel like might not actually have a dud in there is the summer 2009 wave. That wave consisted of the Corporate Alliance tank droid, beautiful, first time we saw jetpack troopers from LEGO Star Wars The Clone Wars. We also got the Hoth Echo base, which was the first time we saw the Tauntaun there, of course in a $25 set. I want to say that the pirate tank was a summer set that year too, but I'm not 100% sure on my recollection of the release of that set. Definitely the Home One Mon Calamari Cruiser was a summer set there. We saw MIDI scale introduced for the first time with the Millennium Falcon in MIDI scale there. We saw the Separatist shuttle. $30 set, wonderful set, love that one, still great to this day in my opinion. We also have the Clone Wars Y-Wing with Anakin, Ahsoka, and R2-D2. The Battle on Endor, it's the only real version of the Endor bunker we've ever gotten out of LEGO, which is wonderful. And then of course a set like the Venator in that wave. Like, that's a pretty good wave of sets right there, I think. And none of them, to me, stand out as being bad. Like, there's no General Grievous Starfighter in there where there's just something about one of those sets that's, like, unbelievably bad. Like, all of those sets are pretty damn good and really legendary at this point. So, yeah, that wave, I think I would say, is probably one of the best waves. The best wave, obviously, like I said, will vary from person to person, but that one definitely stood out to me when I read your question and went and looked into what I thought might be a good answer. Our next question comes from Roberts. He says, when you get all the LEGO Star Wars sets, what theme are you going to start collecting? I'm sure I will be buying like duplicates of older sets forever and ever and ever. Like, I don't plan to not just stop buying LEGO Star Wars when I collect them all. But the other themes that I do have a keen interest in collecting all of the sets for, whoa, my light just shifted, it scared me, are Pirates of the Caribbean and Harry Potter. Those are the two, like, at the top of my list right now for themes I would like to get everything of. My kind of stretch themes are Power Miners and Atlantis. I think those are a couple themes I wouldn't mind getting all the sets of, but definitely Harry Potter and Pirates of the Caribbean I think are very feasible and likely for the next decade or two. Greg says, hey Ryan, I'm of the mind that UCS sets should include play features so long as they're accurate to the ship and set. What do you think the rest of the community would think? Obviously, you guys can comment what you think in the comment section below, and maybe he'll read some of the comments about that, but I would say that maybe you're referring to something like the Tantive, which is kind of a pseudo UCS set. I generally think that play features don't belong in UCS sets because they are not for play. That's just not what they're made for. They're literally made to be displayed, and if you want to play with them, that's fine, but like, there shouldn't be a stud shooter on a UCS set. Like, that would get me going, I think. So I'm just of the opposite opinion, and I would say that most people buying a UCS set would be of the opposite opinion. But there's a place for it in sets like the Tantive, I would say. Jake says, what do you think of the new adult black box? Do you prefer the old artwork on UCS sets? So UCS sets, especially for Star Wars, have gone through quite a few different renditions of what like the box art is for them. At first, they had like this weird black and white thing. Didn't work at all. That was some of the worst box art LEGO has ever done for Star Wars sets. And then they had kind of this era where they would just kind of be in the same box art style as the year that they came out in, which I actually kind of liked for a while. And then they kind of transitioned into the newer style with the LEGO Star Wars UCS box art with like the golden UCS logo. It looked really, really nice. And then of course, more recently, I think starting with the 2017 Falcon, they transitioned into like this like simple black border box art. And now of course they have the all black box art, and it's definitely gone through some changes. I can't really say I maybe prefer the old one because I think that this clean black box art does look really good. I think there are certain sets maybe that it would look better without it, but I think for the most part it does look really good. I think that where the black box art falls apart to me is some of the sets from other themes that are using it. I feel like it takes it too seriously, but for the most part I think that it's definitely preferable to some of the styles we've had before. And I think I will miss, assuming they do this for the next 5-10 years or whatever, the artistic value of having actual art on the box. There is something about like seeing the box art and seeing where they placed the ship in space or on a planet or on the, like, you know, like there is something to that to me. So I kind of wonder how they're going to do it when they get to something like Endor. Like if they ever do a Master Builder series style Endor, I assume it wouldn't be in the same UCS style box art, like they'd build it on Endor and they'd have box art of Endor, but still, it begs questions like that I think are interesting and we'll see answers to. Like the UCS Republic gunship, does that get art? Like I know they have said that they haven't ruled out the possibility of doing things like that in the future where there still will be box art and they won't just do black art no matter what. So that's definitely on the table. I think it's something unique and new and I'm fine with it right now, so we'll see where it goes in the next few years. NDepth64 says, what would make you not want the File First Battle Pack? I think including a character, like a named character, would have been a buzzkill to me. I think that this is pretty clearly, or was supposed to be, and what everyone mostly wanted was an army building pack. And to me, if you like, pick a direction, right? If you want to make a battle pack like the Bounty Hunters battle pack, and that's clearly not something people are supposed to buy multiples of, that's fine. I think most people are okay with that, and like it's a great way to get multiple figures for cheap. You buy one and you're happy. The real problem arises, and this would have been a huge problem in this set if it were the case if they had thrown like Anakin Skywalker in there, in a case like the Jedi and Clone Troopers battle pack. That to me, it's like, you don't know what you're doing, right? Like people are gonna want to buy that set to get a lot of clones, but then they're going to end up with 50 Ki-Adi-Mundis, and that's no fun for anybody. So I don't like it really when they're mixed. I think that that's a bigger problem than just having named characters. I think that's fine, but the mixed ones, if it was mixed, like with named characters and non-named characters, that would have been a huge buzzkill, and I would have not bought as many as I intend to buy. Alejandro says, do you think that LEGO will change the Boba Fett face? I think you mean Jango Fett face, but I guess either. Due to the new Clone Trooper head models. P.S. I have no idea if they already did that. So as of recently, no. There have been like no changes to the Boba Fett and Jango Fett head faces. Like they're all the same, obviously. Like they haven't had any since they've changed the clone face because they literally just did it. But it will be interesting to see what they do, because they should probably change the skin tone on Boba and Jango Fett respectively if they've changed the Clone Trooper heads, who are notably modeled exactly after those two people. However, I wouldn't be surprised if the print was different for those characters, just to give them some distinction and make them unique in that way. So I would expect the skin tone to change, but I would also expect the print to not be the same as the Clone Troopers. Hopefully LEGO's not that lazy, although wouldn't put it past them at this point. We've seen what they'll do. Mitchell wants to know how long it takes me to pick questions. Usually about an hour at this point. Like I just scroll and read, and I pick about 30 questions. Yeah, it just takes a while. Nicholas says, I live in Denmark and LEGO is much more expensive here than in the US. For example, the Grievous Starfighter coming this year cost 749 Danish krona, which is 112 US dollars. Oh my goodness, you are getting ripped off. Well, I'll tell you who's ripping you off. It's not LEGO. Like, everything's more expensive in Denmark. And here's why. Not because LEGO's ripping you off. I have to make this art. I swear to God, I do this like once a month because people keep saying this, and I have to set the record straight because I think it's BS. I'm simping for LEGO. Here we go. There is something called a value-added tax. In Denmark, I Googled it, the value-added tax is 25%. If you do the math, that 25% value-added tax, if you remove it, what your government is making LEGO charge on top of their retail price for the item, it makes the price for that about 84 US dollars. In the US, the Grievous Starfighter is $80. So, do you see my point? Like, hopefully you get it. They are the same price, more or less. Like, you're gonna get some fluctuation one way or the other, no matter what. And in the US, notably, tax is not included in that $80 price. So, we pay 80 bucks plus whatever percentage our state tax, country tax, whatever, is added on to that price that you see. Trooper Geo says, did you see Someordinarygamer's video that he made on the LEGO drama, more specifically the 2 Brickbusters that you made? Yeah, so I watched, like, part of it, and I had some people give me a synopsis of it. I was not, like, I don't know, the video is kind of dumb, and I've heard that, like, the guy is, like, mostly notorious for doing, like, little to no research, and from what I saw, that was pretty much what that video was, so I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. I didn't, like I said, I didn't watch the whole thing. I left a comment on the video, but that's about it. Like, I don't really care about it very much at all. I didn't know who the guy was before. I'll probably never watch one of his videos again, and that's okay. Amazing Fantasy 15 with 135 upvotes says, do you think there's a possibility of an Order 66 set, whether Clone Wars or Episode 3? So I want to do 2 things on this. The answer to, do I think there's a possibility of something like beating a dead horse again, is yes. But the answer to this one specifically is probably not.
But you notice the contradiction. That's violation of privacy.
But let's discuss the contradiction.
Because why would LEGO make a set glorifying the death of all of the good guys? That's not gonna happen. I've seen some nice custom, like, Order 66 collection type sets, but, like, LEGO's not gonna do that. They would have done it, right? Like, that's not gonna happen. So, no, there will not be an Order 66 set that's like, Clone Troopers kill the Jedi battle pack. Like, that's not happening. But there are sets with things from scenes like that may have been from other scenes as well. Like, but you're not going to get a set that's Ki-Adi-Mundi's death. Galactic Marines, please, by the way, while we're at it. Enter Nickname says, how does it feel that Chima has the biggest set of all time? Well, I looked into this. Of course, Chima does have a very large LEGO set, but the LEGO Star Wars X-Wing from Times Square has called. Holocron Studio says, do you think the prices online for the Republic Dropship with ATOT are too insane? I mean, yeah, they are insane. It has gotten pretty crazy with, it's like $1,000 for that set if you want it sealed. And that's supply and demand. That's how the market works, dude. Like, that's just how it goes. They stopped producing that set a decade ago, and now it's more popular than ever, I would wager. And of course, the price will reflect that. Do I think it's, I mean, it's pretty crazy that it has gotten to that point, but it has gotten to that point. That being said, you can buy like custom ones. Republic Bricks kind of sponsors me. I have a code for him. It's MandR, and he makes custom ones for just the dropship. I want to say it's like 300, or there's some models that might be less than that, but the Munos one is definitely 300 that I remember seeing. And my point to that is, in my video tomorrow, I kind of make a point that it's been a wild ride over the last decade that some sets like that have become cheaper to buy like custom models of than to actually buy the real LEGO release set. And it's because a decade ago I'd look at a custom gunship and be like, $400, what the hell? Now it's like, oh, actually that's like just as much as the LEGO one, and if I like that color scheme more, I may as well get that one, you know? So yeah, they are pretty insane, but like rightfully so. Like, that's supply and demand. I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with it. I hope that LEGO sees this insane pricing and brings out some new version of that set. The Solo channel says, when do you think we'll see January 2021 rumors? So historically, you know, maybe outside of the last few years, I would always say like August. It was usually that first week of August, but I'm trying to think back. I think July of 2018 or 2017, we saw some 2018 rumors, and like, so very soon. Like, I'll make a video when I have them. That's all I can say. Like, soon, hopefully. Like, it could happen any week at this point, to be honest. CT Lewis says, do you think they will do any more last-minute updates on minifigs in the new sets? No, the new sets are done. They are coming out as they are, at least with their first production run. Like, that's not changing, you know? Like, you are getting the set that they released the pictures of, and that is dumb. I still hope they change Anakin and Obi-Wan for future production runs. I'm definitely planning to bring this up, assuming I get the okay to do a one-on-one interview with one of the LEGO Star Wars designer guys. I'm asking the questions that people want answered, right? Is there okay with 89 upvotes? And usually when comments get a lot of upvotes, it makes me more inclined to answer them. He says, do you still think Ahsoka should have died in Clone Wars after seeing Rebels? Yeah, like, look, I enjoyed Ahsoka in Rebels. I enjoyed her in Clone Wars for the most part. Her arc in season 7, like, those middle 4 episodes were just terrible. Like, I didn't enjoy them. Like, that's okay, whatever. But yeah, she should have died. Like, that, like, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you no. Just like Darth Maul should be dead. As much as I love Darth Maul, it doesn't change the fact that he should have been dead at the end of episode 1. There's no reason they should have brought him back. Not that it ended up being a good thing, but yes, he should have died. And much in the same vein, Ahsoka should have died, because she is not mentioned. She seems so integral to who Anakin Skywalker is, leading right into episode 3, and then no mention of her. And then no mention of her at all in the original trilogy. Like, there's just nothing, right? So it's obvious that her character was not thought of until the Clone Wars came around, which is fine. Like, you can do things like that, but it just leaves holes like this where it's like, yeah, the character probably should have died because she's not mentioned in any of this other media type of thing. So that's just the way I feel about it, okay? You're not changing my opinion on it, and I don't see how it's going to affect you that's my opinion, but that's the way I feel. She should have died in the Clone Wars. Like, it would have made sense to me. It was kind of what I was looking forward to the end of Clone Wars being, was Ahsoka's death leading into episode 3, but that just didn't happen, and that's fine. Like, I still like Clone Wars a lot, but that's what I thought was going to happen. Jack with an interesting take here says, I would love a Phase 2 Cody in the gunship, but I don't know how likely the odds are, since as said in the Clone Wars, he wasn't at the Battle of Geonosis. Gunship, or the UCS one, is supposedly going to be based off episode 2. I know that's what they said in the ideas page, but it doesn't mean they can't change it, by the way. And UCS is supposed to be as accurate as possible, so we probably shouldn't get our hopes up. So I agree with you on a few of those things there, but like I said, I think that they can take whatever liberties they want in a case like this. I think that this set especially can take liberties. I think that the box art that Toxic Tiger whipped up really shows well what I've tried to put out there for what I think would be a good idea, and that's like because this is obviously a fan's choice type set. Like we did a vote for this, like very obvious, right? Like they did a vote for it. And so they could totally do a thing where it's like, hey, these are the fans' choice figures for this set. Obviously, he wasn't at the Battle of Geonosis, but that doesn't mean he can't have like an episode 2 base gunship appearance. And I know he's not phase 2 in episode 2, but like you can take some liberties, right? Like there are gunships on Utapau in episode 3 when he's there on Utapau. Then you just have Jedi Bob, you know, in the set too. Like to me, that's not a big deal. And I would think that for as much as people want phase 2 Cody and Jedi Bob to return, that it's not gonna be the end of the world if Commander Cody wasn't in this particular scene that this particular gunship is based off. I just don't think that's the case. I did hear, by the way, and I don't know how true this is. I feel like I should throw this out here, though. That original leaked photo of the General Grievous Starfighter apparently was Commander Cody. Commander Cody was supposed to be in the Grievous Starfighter set. And like I said, don't know how true this is. All hearsay, rumor, word on the street, whatever. But Phase 2 Cody apparently was supposed to be in that set, and it was changed after the vote for the UCS gunship, and they saw how many people were asking for the Phase 2 Cody to be in the UCS gunship. And so they basically put the nail in the coffin for the General Grievous Starfighter by ruining the set, taking out Cody, making it worth considerably less than it would have been. Obviously, the Obi-Wan is a whole nother issue. I still think the Grievous Starfighter build is beautiful. But they took the Cody out of there just so they could put him in the gunship next year and cash out on that desire, which is really sad for me to hear, that could be the case. We'll never get an answer to that. No one from the LEGO Star Wars design team will ever talk about that, ever. Like, I'm not going to bring it up in any interview because they're just going to give a non-answer. It's not going to happen. They're not allowed to talk about things like that. It's just not going to happen. 8 Octoling says, would you rather have a cameo in anything Star Wars related or have a minifigure based off yourself? Ooh, yikes. I think, you know, as much as I feel like I don't care about these types of things, I think I would take the cameo in anything Star Wars related. Like, just like a background scene in The Mandalorian or something. Like, done. I feel like that would be the cooler thing to me. Matt Trey says, how do you feel about decal figures? I don't like them very much. Like, I don't do decal figures. I never really have, and definitely never will. Printing is obviously superior. There's a reason that that's the way it's done by most people. Decaling, I feel like, is a unique thing and definitely has its place for the people that enjoy it, but to me, I just couldn't care less about decaling. Jason Van Pelt says, what do you think of the rumors that say they are considering voiding out the last trilogy movies by making them an alternate reality and completely redoing the latest trilogy? So he's talking about the sequels and Disney possibly completely removing them from canon. I think that's dumb, like, for the most part. It would be very interesting to watch happen, and the fallout of it, or possibly, like, I'm not sure, like, because there are a lot of angry people on the internet, but it would be interesting to see what would happen. Like, because from what I see on, like, Twitter and YouTube comments and Reddit, whatever, like, everyone just hates on the sequels, bags on them endlessly. So if Disney were to do something as insane as this, would that just make everyone happy, right? Like, because that can't be the case, right? Because some people like the sequels. I like the sequels. I thought they were pretty good movies. I like all the stats I have from them. So if is all the merchandise that I bought just now worthless? I don't know. Like, it seems like an odd thing for them to do, and I doubt it will happen because it is a really big thing to do. SpongeBob Picture says, how many battle droids do you have? I want to do a battle droid army video this year, hopefully. I don't know. I haven't done a battle droid army in like 7 years or something, so it's been a long time, but when I can get them all together, I will get them all together. I'm sure my battle droid number will go up a lot from 501st Battle Packs as well, because I'll be buying a lot of those, and there's battle droids in those, so definitely a lot, probably. I haven't had them together in a long time. J-Man with a very interesting one. Is LEGO doomed? Says, LEGO being plastic, do you think the product will survive if there's an eventual global push to limit plastic usage and production over the next decade or so? No, I don't think LEGO's in real trouble. A couple reasons. One, like, you can make all the plastic you want. There's no way they're just going to outlaw it like that, right? But on the flip side, LEGO's actually been working to be completely, like, plastic-free or whatever. They're making plant-based LEGO. Like, look up the LEGO Plants from Plants set. It's literally LEGO made out of plants. And so it's like plastic, but it's like plastic made from plants. I don't know. It's very sustainable, not the same as like normal plastic. Apparently, LEGO's doing really good stuff in that way. And I don't think they would be very affected by something like that. And they're definitely future-proofing themselves if something like that were to ever happen, or really to just not be part of that problem anyway. I'll also say I think there's a lot of other places where you could cut plastic usage, right? So I think that's also very important to note. Like, LEGO is one of probably the less issue, especially as far as like plastic going into landfills, which I think is the bigger problem, and then into the oceans from there, is the bigger issue, and LEGO usually is not a culprit of that, I would say. And that is going to do it for Ask MandR Productions episode 132. If you guys did enjoy, a like would be greatly appreciated. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you have a question or joke or something you want answered or talked about on next week's episode, you can leave it in the comments section below. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.